We're going to have a fun guest coming on here in a little while, Justin Berry. Justin's a great friend. I've gotten to know Justin over the last number of years now, and him and the Crappie Connection. If you have never checked out any of Justin's podcasts and shows, you can go to the Crappie Connection and check all them out. You can go to their Facebook page and get to all that stuff. And Justin will be on here a little while later tonight, and he'll be able to tell you all about the Crappie Connection. And Justin and me, of course, went to Lake of Egypt this week, and it was last year during a polar vortex. And it was safe to say it was cozy and warm out there on the water. Ryan Hudson jumping on here. How you doing, Ryan? Good old Cabela's right there. Ryan manages a store at Cabela's. And got Greg on here. Hi, Rebecca. Got a whole bunch of folks jumping on. When you jump on here, invite your friends, share this out. We're always trying to get to more and more viewers, and you can see the numbers are adding up on the screen right now. We're getting more and more folks. Everybody hitting thumbs up for something or another there. But we got Brandon Baldwin, and I think he just invited a few people here. Let's see who else we got here. Trying to catch Bobby Gilmore. Brenda Keith, and Brenda was messaging me a little while ago about fishing or something there. I can't remember. I just responded back to her earlier. And so anyway, this week's episode was brought to you by Kentucky 811. And, you know, I've always had the pleasure of Kentucky being my home. And Kentucky 811, which used to be Crappie, they've always been on my back. I've been promoting that safe digging message here in Kentucky longer than I have anywhere. So it's always great to see that Kentucky 811 at the beginning of the episode. And I'm always happy to be, of course, sharing the message of calling 811 before you dig. If there's one thing I say over and over and over all the time, it's that message. So share this thing out to your friends. Get some more people on there. We got some, it looks like we're stacking up some numbers here of watchers. So I'm going to kind of start through the after the bite part of the, you know, where I start talking about where we've been and what we did. And this week I was with a great friend of mine, Justin Berry. And Justin's one of them guys that you're just going to have a good time fishing with him. It doesn't matter whether you're catching fish or not. This guy's just what I consider a great friend, and love his passion and love for fishing. And he and I got out there, and of course it was during a polar vortex. I mean, it was frigid cold. And of course these crappie like to bite in that cold weather. We were on a power plant lake called Lake of Egypt in Illinois, and we'll talk a little bit more extensively into that here in a few minutes when Justin gets on with us. So I always do my 811 question, trivia question of the week. So we're going to start out, and I'll repeat this thing a couple times through this week. And this week I'm going to be giving you a couple Jinko baits right here, and it's the Trapline Rip Knocker. And I'm going to tell a little bit about this bait a little bit later in the episode and what's unique about this bait and that. So we're going to be giving a few of them away. We're going to be giving some hats away, Direction Hat, 811 hat. We got a little squeezy fish and some Jinko crappie baits right here. We'll talk a little about these as well. These are the little Fries, the Fry series crappie baits right here. They have it in a 2-inch and a 3-inch, and Justin and me were using these little Fries when we were up at Lake of Egypt. And so we'll be telling a little bit about that. Justin Jennings, see you jumping on there. Daniel Cheney, how are you? Austin Warren. Austin was up Taylorsville this week. I believe he was catching crappie about, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said about 30 foot deep. And earlier this week, and he was texting me some pictures and that. William Hayden jumping on here, and Mike Terrick, how are you? And Mike's on there every week. Mike said last week his Tuesdays are complete because we're back on to doing After the Bite. And Mike, we appreciate you saying that last week. So our 811 trivia question of the week is what lake did I first travel to years ago when I tried to fish professionally on the road? What lake did I travel to in Missouri? The hint is in Missouri, to fish my first BASS event. And this was, oh heck, I won't even know what year. It's been so long. Guess that was 96, 98, something like that. 96 probably. I don't know. Might have been before that. I'd have to even look. But anyway, what lake did I travel to fish my first BASS event? And my mom and my grandma and everybody, my wife, all came out there to the very first event that I ever traveled on the road to try to fish tournament-wise professionally. What lake was it? So take a guess what lake, and it is, and everybody's guessing right here some of the lakes there in Missouri, and we're going to pick a winner from all the people who guess it right tonight. We're going to pick a winner. So keep guessing on what lake did I first travel to fish my first BASS event years ago. So we'll tell the answer to that a little later in the show. And so back to the cold weather, the fishing trip kind of to Lake of Egypt was a lot of fun. Justin and me got up there. We ended up catching some crappie, and well, you know, Justin said we were going up to catch crappie, and well, we ended up catching a few bass if you watched tonight's episode. And it was awesome catching these fish in the cold water. So I'm going to go ahead, and I guess we're going to grab Justin, bring Justin on here, because Justin's going to bring a little bit of fun to this tonight. We're going to do a little laughing, and I'm sure kidding each other, because Justin is supposed to be the crappie man. He's supposed to be the Crappie Connection. And what I found out is that I think Justin likes to catch bass just as much as I do. I'm going to get in trouble with him here doing this to him. All right, so we're going to be popping Justin up on the screen. And just before Justin gets on here, you all share this out to all your friends, invite them. Hey, Christopher, can you turn that audio on? Because it echoes back. So anyway, share this out, invite your friends. We're getting great numbers right now, which is awesome. And we see Justin up on the screen. Now, one thing about Justin, this guy ought to have good audio and good video, because this guy's used to doing podcasts and doing all kinds of live shows. So, Justin, appreciate you jumping on here tonight. And all I'm going to say is what a great time we had up at Lake of Egypt, and what a great bass fisherman you are.
Yeah, I think I'm going to open up another podcast, something about bass fishing, as good as that was. So, yeah, it was a great fun experience for sure.
Well, I know we had a whole lot of laughs. You know, I think when we got done with that episode, you were actually like, oh no, I don't know if this is going to turn out very good. And you were kind of a little worried about it, you know, being a great episode. But when you saw how much fun we had together, and here it is cold out there like that, man, what a great time. And just, you know, man, that's what fishing's really all about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when you get the camera in the boat, the nerves get flowing, just like the first time we filmed a year or two ago. I mean, on my travel on the way up there, I threw up. I told you that. And but just like you say, it all comes together at the end of the day. It all works out like we say at work. But yeah, it was. It's one for the memories, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And like you say, we always have fun.
Yeah, that's one for sure thing, you know. And over the years now that I've gotten to know you, you know, isn't it fun? All the fun conversations that we end up having about our trips and you know what takes place in there. It's man, it's just stuff you'll look back on forever. I mean, you think about how cold it was out there, and these bass were literally. I mean, the crappie fishing was a little slow for us, But these bass we just started catching them one after another there at one point.
Yeah, at a point in time, you can see it on episode. We caught 3 or 4 bass right back to back. I honestly think that you could throw a top water on there and busted them during the Polar Vortex.
Yeah, and I think that was a real joke for us. Is that we were out there during that last major Polar Vortex. It wasn't cold; it was extreme cold.
Yeah, it was a very extreme cold. When you get down to single digits, you got to really take care of yourself out there. I've heard a lot of horror stories where guys get out there and try to do something like that and they end up getting hurt. So it's a lot of, you got to take care of yourself out there for sure, and bundle up and put them heat pockets on all over, wrapping around your wrist.
Well, somebody just commented that Barry is the bass master. So I'm getting you a good name out there. That's for sure.
Who commented that? Let me find out who that is.
John Lee.
John Lee, yeah. John Lee's good. The guy. I fished with him a few times down in Mississippi.
Oh, that's good stuff. But one of the fun tricks that you showed me out there that I would have never thought of is that we actually put surgical rubber gloves on underneath our gloves to keep our hands dry. And in all the years of fishing, I had never thought about that. And you had me do that. And what a way to keep your hands dry and keep your hands warm.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was one of them deals when you get out there and you're fishing during the cold and you start thinking, man, I keep touching these fish and jig getting out of the water. What's going to help it? So I latex gloves. Simple.
Yeah. So, to talk a little bit about the crappie fishing itself while we were out there, as cold as it was, and, Lake Egypt's just got some phenomenal good crappie in it. That was the second time I believe we filmed together up there. And, tell me a little bit about, how you like to go about fishing for those crappie up there and what couple rigs that you like to use crappie fishing wise up there.
Yeah, anybody that's tuning in, it does a little research on it. Lake of Egypt is nothing secret. It's a power plant lake. Everybody goes up there during the winter. It's always producing somewhat of warm water. As a rule, right now it never does freeze over. So it's really fun to fish during the winter. Sometimes it can be struggle for lots, but just able to get out there and not sit on front of your boat and have the 8 rods laid out. You got the rods at the back. It's just kind of like bass fishing. You get a little bit more excited. You see like cork, we're casting cork and jig, 6-pound test, 7-foot rods. But just to see a cork go down or go on its side, not knowing if it's a 5-pound bass or a real good crappie, it's just a thrill for me.
Well, now I'm throwing that 9-foot spinning rod of mine. So
yeah, that's right. You're throwing that 9-foot.
I throw that 9-foot, that custom one. And what's fun about you, and one of the things I love to laugh at, is that you like to hit the spot lock on that boat, and they go to the back of the boat. We're throwing out the back of the boat.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that. You didn't know what was actually. He's like, we're going to fish out of the back of the boat. I said, yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let that wind do its work. So it was, you kind of get set up on a good school up on the bank or wherever you're fishing there, and sit there and hit spot lock and relax and start casting.
Yeah, that's definitely was a little different approach, because I watched you do it the year before in your boat, and you were in it by yourself, and you would hit that spot lock. And, I guess the advantage to that is that I'm going to assume that the butt end of the boat is with the wind, and you're throwing out behind it. Is that keep it, what's your advantage to that?
Well, the advantage is you don't have to worry about boat control. You sit there and hit spot lock, and you're able to do whatever you want, whether it's, fish multiple people out the back. You just one less thing you got to worry about. And as you stop catching them, you go to the next spot, of course. But once you kind of dial in on them crappie up there, especially during the winter, you just hit spot lock and you're good to go for a little bit.
Yeah, that was that was one that kind of I scratch my head a little bit on because I can't say that I go to the back of my boat and fish very often.
Yeah. You was fishing against the wind is pretty much a bass fisherman's motto, correct?
Um, yeah, I like to, definitely put the nose of that boat going into the wind and throwing and reeling back to me the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I will say sometimes throwing a trap or something, I'll go across and blow across a flat and just be throwing and, cranking real quick, and I will kind of blow with the wind. So, but, well, we got a great crowd of folks on here tonight. Brian Labriere, Scott Bell, Pete Benanch. Let's see, Pete said, I'll have to try that when I'm perch fishing. Which you have to come do.
Perch fishing.
Do a little perch fishing. Dan Kelty, how are you, Dan? I haven't seen Dan for a while. Bobby Gilmore says, winter, fish dinner. But, so, but Lake of Egypt, again, is one of them places, in the middle of the winter, because of that power plant lake, I guess what the temperature on that, the closest end of the lake towards the power plant, what kind of temperature range does it stay in the winter?
I mean, it ranges from day to day, but on like a single digit, if they're pumping out pretty good, I mean, up close, you're looking at 45 to 50 degrees, 52. Right? I mean, we was out there, Polar Vortex. We was out there, single digits, and it was 40-something degrees out there.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why it's so crazy to cast cork and jig up there during the wintertime. It's something different. It's something different across the states, and therefore I'm hooked.
Oh, I know why you told me, Mark, you got to come do this. And, I came with Mike Helton and with Jimmy Jennings the year before with you.
Yeah.
And that was, phenomenal trip as well. And it was cold. And we still caught them. I mean, we had a ball. I mean, so both times that I've come up there, my big one for me is that just like while we were fishing, you said, oh, come on, we got to get back to crappie fishing. I didn't want to move, Justin.
Yeah, I know. I seen your. Hey, it's living in the moment. And I was like, we got to go. And you was like, no, man, this is TV right here. I said, okay, all right, I got that. I understand.
You're wanting to leave biting fish to go find crappie. And I'm like,
yeah. I mean, it's funny coming from a I'm talking to a professional bass fisherman here, and I'm over here like, man, we over here catching these ditch pickles. And he's, it's exciting and fun, and it's just unscripted, and you never know what's going to happen.
No, it wasn't. The thing was, is you could see them on the depth finder. I mean, they were just stacked up them bass, and it was like, oh my goodness, I could throw up there. And these things are in 8 feet of water, I think, probably what they were, 8, 12 feet. And it
very
was
shallow.
Just whoop, down that cork would go and boom. And on that 9-foot rod, and on the same thing on your spinning rod on that 7-foot, you hooking up with them 2-pound bass like that and 2.5 pounders, them things are a ball.
It's fun.
On a rod like that.
It's fun. It's fun. That'd be the next show you could do, catching single digit topwater bass.
Hey, that might be, you got some ideas.
There you go.
And I know just who to take with me to catch these bass.
Yep. Yeah. I think I can find a bass fish around here somewhere.
Now, what's funny is also, as you told me that which one of your sons, they like to bass fish?
Yeah, my boy Tate. Yep.
So.
Yep.
That kid's sharp. See, I like it. He got the bass fisherman in him. But and that was my trivia question of the week. You might have heard that earlier. As I've told everybody, the 811 trivia question. So everybody that's on here is to answer, which lake did I travel to fish my first BASS professional event? Back when I was a kid, tried to chase that crazy dream, and of course I had to give that up. And but now I'm having fun doing TV. So, but if you can answer that, some of you have answered it. Well, there might be a right answer or two on here. It's in Missouri. And so keep on guessing, because here's what'll happen. At the end of this, I'm going to go through, and all the people that guessed it right, we're going to pick a winner out of here. with all these goodies up here behind me. So, well, Justin, tell me a little bit about the Crappie Connection and where folks can go and see your awesome show and what you do. And, what's really cool for me is, I like supporting you guys with the direction. You all have done a great job of sharing the direction and my show out there and getting your viewers to come watch us as well. And I'm always happy to, I hope to, I want to say be one of your all's partners and get to sponsor you guys. And because I've watched you chase your dream. I mean, you started this thing, I guess about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And
yeah, about a year and a half.
And man, to watch you and the excitement that you have for it, the passion for fishing, and to watch where you've taken the Crappie Connection and the network of folks that you're sharing crappie tips to and all about crappie fishing. So I'm gonna give you the floor and tell me a little bit about the Crappie Connection and where everybody can go and see it.
Yeah, Mark. Everybody that's tuning in, that for one, I don't think the word is out a lot for crappie fishing radio. We're the first and only podcast out there dedicated to crappie fishing. I start a lot of shows saying, I'm sure that anybody's tuning in and heard, brother from another mother. Me and Brad Chappell, one of my good friends, we figured out that ain't nothing out there, talk radio show with crappie fishing, with all the social media, all the podcasts, everything out there. We figured, hey, ain't nothing out there. So we figured out we found that niche, is what Chris would say, your boy. So we found that niche. We started putting two together. Me, Brad, and his boy Hunter created Crappie Connection. You can find us out on Instagram, Facebook. We're on all the Apple Podcast app. I think it's Stitch. We're out there with everything. So you can contact us if anything that y'all feel free that you might want to talk about. But I mean, we're talking to. We just come back from Oklahoma City. We talked to a biologist. I mean, how much fun do you think it would be for you to sit down as a bass fisherman to talk to a biologist? Things that you thought that you might know, you don't know. I mean, I've learned stuff all along the way. I mean, it's just nothing but a fun trip for me and Brad. It's just, I mean, it's endless right now, but it's a really good ride.
Well, I've just enjoyed the excitement and watching you take this thing out of the ground, because I know the passion you have for it. I watch you when I'm talking to you on the phone. I mean, me and you sit and talk about the business of, all of these are the fishing partners that you need to support these things to make it happen, and then how to get, more following and viewers and all those things. And man, it's a joy to see this thing becoming successful for you.
I appreciate it. And one thing I have a lot of fun is we get to travel a lot. We get to travel a lot, talk to the public, get to talk to other anglers across, crappie fishermen pros, whether it be guys, tournament fishermen, guys that tie hair jigs on. I mean, the love for the crappie fishing is just so much more out there, and I have so much fun talking to other guys that can relate to me.
Well, that's, I've enjoyed it because, like you said, the crappie side, really nobody's doing what you're doing. And it's a joy for all those guys, because I love to crappie fish. I didn't learn to do it until a little later in life. And, man, I fell in love with it. And I still love it. I mean, I had Mike Hilton and Bill and Scott Estes build me at Denali, build me that custom 9-foot rod. And, and I just love it, because man, there's just nothing like hooking up with a 1.5 pound, 2 pound crappie on that 9-foot spinning rod. I mean, just nothing like it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And another thing, too, I mean, you think you got it all figured out when it comes to fishing, but when you start talking to these guys and start picking their brain, kind of like what we do on the show, I mean, you really tune into a lot of things that you didn't know. And you're always learning, no matter what type of fishing it is. Crappie fishing, bass fishing, it don't matter. But you're always learning, and I get a thrill out of it every time I sit down to talk to one of these guys.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing how each angler has details in what they're doing that they feel like makes that successful for them?
Yep, and it's even more exciting when you travel, like we traveled 8-9 hours to Oklahoma City, and when you travel Mississippi and you start talking to these guys and they start telling you the same thing of what they're telling you in Oklahoma. I mean, it's pretty surreal, I guess you could put it.
It is, and that's what I enjoy. I probably have said this a number of times. Each time I get in the boat with different anglers, you see little things that make a big difference in not catching fish and catching fish. And when you're traveling to fish with all these different folks, you start picking up on those little tips, and you kind of keep building your arsenal up. I wish I knew as much about fishing now as I did a long time ago when I was trying the tournament thing, and it didn't fare so well.
Oh my goodness!
I found out this fun fishing on TV is a whole lot more fun.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I guarantee it.
But the pressure is still on sometimes to make sure that you're catching them because even though we're telling a great story like me and you out there, there's just something about when the fish start biting, man, Justin, the excitement happens. It just, I don't know what happens, but you just get fired up.
You grow for the love of the sport, no matter what fishing, and it's like a 6-year-old on Christmas Day morning. I mean, it's a present every single catch, and it's enjoyable. Some people don't understand it. Some people do. You gotta love it. Love it.
That's a neat way of putting it. It's a present each catch, and it really is. You just can't wait for that next bite. Whether it's a big fish, on the days when the bite's tough, it's just catching one that makes you excited. And then when the days are that it's really good, it's catching that one big one. And
yeah.
So
it's Brandon Polinick said it best. I've been watching some of his stuff, and he said he lives for that moment where that bite, that reaction from that bite to get from his hands to the rod all the way to his brain is just what he lives for, and I can totally agree with that.
Well, there's no doubt. I live for it. I still love it. After, I'm 46 years old, and I can remember going to the farm ponds on my little riding lawnmower down at the farm and taking my fishing poles and holding on this Craftsman lawnmower, and I'd drive my way down to the pond. And man, I think I love it as much today as I did then. I've never outgrown it.
Me and you both. I was duct taping my rods and my bicycles right down the gravel roads. So yeah, you gotta have the love for it.
Yeah, and the stories that come from it. I mean, I think a couple of years ago, I took some of the boys wading the creek back here behind the house. We're wading back here, and my fishing pole breaks. So my rod's all broke. I've got this half rod, and I'm still casting with this half rod trying to fish. I mean, just stories like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm like,
the moments you live for. It's the moments you live for when it comes like that.
Yep. I'm still like a little kid with it every day. But
oh yeah, I giggle every time, man. I giggle every time.
So with my buddy Brian Labriere on here, Brian and me used to fish a few tournaments together. He put on there, you and I did pretty well. Yeah, but you was carrying the weight, Brian. But no, Brian and me went to high school together, and we used to fish together. And even then, there's something you're always looking back on fishing, and man, just what great times it creates for you. But
it is.
Well, Justin, I appreciate you jumping on here tonight and talking to us. And
anytime.
Got anything else that you want to share with anybody before you hop off here? And I'm going to kind of go through the rear end of this show.
Yeah, well, just real quick, everybody's tuning in. If you haven't heard about us, we're a Crappie podcast show, news media. We do it all. We travel everywhere. We interview everybody. If you haven't found us yet, look us up on Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, like us on Facebook. And Mark, man, other than that, I greatly appreciate everything you've done for us.
I'm always proud just to be a part of the Crappie Connection and having you as a friend. And just once again, this episode shows another great time and a great story.
Heck yeah. I appreciate it, Mark.
All right. Good talking to you, Justin.
You too, man.
So just to, kind of recap on that, Justin's just one of them guys, as you can see from that interview right there, that, man, what a friend he's become, and just what a, one of those people, again, from the outdoor industry, all the great folks you meet, it's a great story. It's something I'll always look back on. I mean, we were bundled up, cold, but we were still having fun catching fish out there, and that's the direction for you. Great people, great stories, good times with friends, and I mean that sums up fishing in a nutshell. And Justin and I this week, you saw that. I mean, you saw the fun we have when you hear that, hear me and him interacting and talking right there. It don't get any better than those times right there. So to kind of go on to the next part of the show here, I'm going to do something this week to see. We got 36 people on here or something like that right now. So I'm going to hold up a $25 gift card. So we're going to give this gift card away, and we're going to ask a separate question for this gift card right here. So here's what you need to do. If you can share and invite your friends, I'm going to give you a shot at winning this $25 gift card. So you got to share and invite your friends for me. Come on now. But now to win this card, you don't actually have to do that. What I want to know is I'm going to have I got an 811 safety question here. What I want to know is if you are going out to drive a fence post in the ground, and you're going to drive a post down in the ground, do you need to call 811 before you do that? I want to know the answer to that. See who can get that question answered correctly. So the 811 safety question is do you have to call 811 before you drive a fence post in the ground? So if you take a big wood fence post and you're going to put it in the ground, or a T-post and you're going to put it in the ground, tell me, do you have to call 811 first? So I'm going to see what the answers are here. And most of you look like you're going to be answering it right. So I'll be picking a winner from that. And then, I'm going to come to a part of the show now, and I like to take and each week tell a little tip. Well, there's a bait here that I had a guy text me a question about, and it's called the trap line rip knocker. So if you look at this, this is a Jinko bait. And as we told last week, Jinko actually got them on my hat tonight. So my hat's off to these guys for joining the Direction family, and we're glad to be a part of your team as well there at Jinko. And so these guys, make a lipless bait, which is kind of like a trap bait, like a rattle trap or the red-eyed shad, and it's called the rip knocker. And they also make a bait that's called the trap line rip knocker. And if you look at this bait, it's a little unique compared to a standard rattle trap or a lipless trap bait. So, Christopher, will I be able to zoom in on this, or can I walk over to the camera? Okay. So the thing with this bait is, and here's the little package, trip line, step back, get in the light there. How about that? We good there? All right. So this is a trap line rip knocker. Well, what's unique about this bait is if you look, it doesn't have any hooks on it like a lipless crankbait does. So they make this, the rip knocker, with hooks on it as well. But this particular model is the trap line rip knocker. And the reason for this is you can actually take this bait, and so when you're fishing this lipless bait and you're reeling it, one of the common things that happens with a lipless bait is they're heavy. So when you hook up with a bass and he has this in his mouth and he comes up and jumps, he gets this bait and he can sling this heavy bait around, and all flying through the air goes your bait, into the water goes the fish, and you lose him. So Jinko came up with a lipless bait like this that actually has a hole in the bait. You actually take your line and it goes through it, and you tie the treble hook off below this bait. So now there's a single treble hook on this bait. And what is awesome about this is now when that fish comes up to jump, this bait just slides up the line and he jumps and this bait's flopping up here. It doesn't give him the leverage to throw this bait nearly as easy. The other big advantage to this bait, you know, along with it not having a hook in the back like this, is now when you're fishing it through grass and that, it comes through the grass tremendously well because you got that single hook down there. You're able to just kind of rip it through there and bring it right on through the grass. So to answer the question that I believe it was Steve Hammer sent to me is what is the purpose for the trapline rip knocker? That is the purpose of it. It is to hook up with more fish and not lose as many fish because they don't have the leverage of shaking the bait, right, you know, this heavy bait right in their mouth. They don't shake it as much to throw it, and that you can pull it through the grass a whole lot better. So if you, you know, if you get a little bit of time, go to Jinko Fishing and look up this bait. If you want to purchase one of them, we have a discount code. It's The Direction TV, and I believe you get 15% off your orders when you go to Jinko for that. So check out the Trapline Rip Knocker, neat bait. It's got a, you know, it's got a unique purpose, and but just wanted to answer Steve Hammer's question on that bait. So a great bait. Of course, it comes in a multitude of colors. If you look right here, I've got, you know, here's a stack of them there, black and chrome, gizzard shad, you know, a fire tiger color. The name of it is, let's see, amphibian. And then, of course, you know, good old red, and you can't get any better than red. And that, this color here is Texas crawl. So anyway, just a little fishing tip of the week right there. I like to throw that bait on on this rod right here, which is my 7.6 medium heavy. This is one of Denali's Covert Lights. It's a cranking rod. Love this rod right here. Great for getting good leverage, make good long casts. And when you're throwing a lipless bait like this, it's about getting it out there as far as you can and just getting a good long retrieve. So, but anyway, there's my little fishing tip of the week. And so the 811 safety question of the week was, do you have to call 811 when driving a fence post in the ground? Well, I noticed that most of you, and I believe all of you, were answering this question correctly. So say it again, Christopher. Yeah, so if you want to comment, I'm going to give this $25 Bass Pro gift card away for testing your knowledge of, do you have to call 811 when driving a fence post in the ground? So we'll be giving that away here in just a minute. And so back to, we're going to go ahead and pick a winner. And Lauren, you want to help your brother pick a winner? No? Lauren's hiding over here. So who was the first person to answer, what lake did I travel to fish my first bass event years ago when I tournament fished? Don't tournament fish anymore, not very often. And who answered it? And it would have been Table Rock Lake.
The very first person was Savage
Adam.
Adam.
Adam Savage. Well, I believe Adam is from Kentucky here, I believe. I've seen a little bit of Adam's stuff on Facebook. So we'll be sending Adam a direction hat. It's a Bait 11 hat. We're gonna send him a couple Jinko Lures baits, decal, and a t-shirt right here. And we'll be throwing a few Jinko baits in there as well. So Adam Savage, congratulations on your correct answer. And now for our $25 Bass Pro gift card. Lonnie Heiss just said, yes, call 811 anytime you dig a hole. I like that answer. I'm going to look through here and find a good answer. What are you saying, Lauren? Yes. Well, it's supposed to be an easy question. I hope people answer it right, but it's good information. My daughter's hiding down there. You can't see her, and she's talking to me. Let's see. Who was the first person to answer? Yes, let me think here. I can't. Yeah, sometimes they disappear. This thing's hard to use. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of people. No. How about Lonnie Heiss? He says, yes, call 811 anytime you got to dig a hole. And that's right. A fence post driving in the ground, you could hit a gas line, you could hit electric, water, anything, because you start driving a post down in the ground 2 feet, 3 feet, there's all kinds of utilities and infrastructure that you can hit. So Lonnie Heiss, we're going to be sending you the 811 Safety Question of the Week, $25 Bass Pro gift card. So I am going to write your name here on this paper, and that gets our giveaways done for this week. And so I guess the next part of this is that next week's episode, let's see, what is next week's episode, Christopher?
Number 5.
I got to think here. I didn't look that one up. Is it Nick and me at Stonewall?
Episode 5 is...
That's bad. I didn't even look ahead of time.
Yeah, it's going to be Stonewall.
Okay, so it's Nick and me. So next week's episode is going to be a fun one. We went to Stonewall Jackson Lake in West Virginia, and I'm always excited about Stonewall. The place is amazing. It's beautiful. It's one of those places that I look forward to going each and every year. And I got to film with Nick, of all people. So me and him had a great time. You're going to see a little bit interesting of an episode. I can say, well, I ended up in the water, and well, there's a moment in the show that you probably don't want to miss, because I got stunned is all I'm going to say. But what a fun episode it was. And, you know, check it out next week, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, Pursuit Channel. Also, you can go to the Pursuit Up app and you can watch all of our old episodes. So, like if you have a Samsung TV, one of them smart TVs, you can get on there. Pursuit Channel's on there. Go to the Pursuit Up. You can watch all the VOD stuff and what they call that, video on demand, I believe. But you can check out all our old episodes on there. You know, you can download the mobile app from Pursuit Channel, and it's the Pursuit Up app. So if you go on your phone, like me, I've got it over here. I can click on the Pursuit Up app, and that Pursuit Up app, you can click on it. You can punch in what show you want to watch. It'll pop all of our old episodes up. You can check them all out. So the other thing I want to tell folks, do me a favor, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We need YouTube followers. We got it growing a little bit. Our Instagram page, I'm always trying to grow our Instagram. Our Facebook's always continually growing. I'm always thankful for all you Facebook supporters out there, but we need you to get on our Instagram, on our Twitter, and on our YouTube, and especially our YouTube and especially our Instagram, because we use both of those a lot. Get on there, make sure you follow us or subscribe to both of those. That's real important that we keep growing those. That's you know, that's how we keep the show going, reaching more people and meeting, you know, more folks through social media. So want to thank everybody for joining us, and look forward to next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. after the bite. That's what this is right here. We'll talk to you, give you a fishing tip or two. We'll talk a little bit about the episodes and fishing. And of course, we're always giving away stuff. So, and everybody likes giveaways. So join us next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. for the After the Bite. Watch the show, 7 p.m. on Pursuit Channel. And you know what? That's going to be a wrap for this week. And we'll see you next week.